Hi there, I'm Jeannette Prue, and I'm here with Ella Ryback, scholar athlete. And Ella is a senior. She's graduating this year from Notre Dame High School in Southern California. Ella, tell us a little bit about your journey in sports. When did you first notice that you were interested in sports?
So I have been doing sports since I was in kindergarten. It has been one of the things that just keeps me active, keeps me energetic, and it's just fun. I've been doing swim since kindergarten, and then I started doing things like volleyball, basketball, softball in middle school. But yeah, I definitely love it.
Great, great. How was sports in middle school? Was it good? Did it help your friendships? Did it have any effect at all, or it's just something you just got used to doing and did?
No, I think it definitely creates a community feel. I was able to get a lot closer to a lot of my classmates, especially going to a smaller elementary and middle school since it was a K-8 school. I got an even closer bond to my classmates. And I also think that being in middle school and you start growing up more, going through puberty, it really helps you just kind of get to know yourself more too.
That's very true. Did you find that being in sports, did it calm you? Did it rev you up? How did it affect you emotionally is what I mean to ask.
If anything, it calmed me down. I mean, sometimes I would be having the worst days ever and I would think, oh, I just don't want to go to practice today. But then I would go to practice and I'd come home the happiest person ever. I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm so upset before practice because now I'm all happy. And that would happen a lot. So it's definitely something that kept me happy and also at peace.
That's great. Now you started with swim, then you got into other sports and went back sort of to swim.
Yes.
Tell us about your journey and what made you decide.
Yes. Okay, so I was doing competitive swim all throughout elementary school. And then in 6th grade, I got badly injured. I got shoulder tendonitis, and it was definitely a rough path back to swim. And when I got back to swim in about 7th grade, I was very far behind from where I had started or where I left off. And so I just slowly kind of stopped. I almost felt like I kind of lost my passion for it. There was so much else going on. I was getting ready for high school, and so I stopped for 8th grade. And then when I entered Notre Dame High School, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna try the swim team. So I tried this out for the swim team, and I ended up actually meeting a lot of good people on that team. And I realized that even though my love for the sport has changed, it's still there. So.
Great. Now, people talk a lot about competition in sports and how competition can wear on a person when you're a young athlete. How did that affect you?
See, I think the key to competition is healthy competition. I think that everybody should. I think competition is good. I think a lot of people think that it's bad necessarily. It's not at all, and that it kind of gives you in the future, when you go into careers and all that kind of stuff, you're going to need to know, how to be a healthy competitor. And I think this is kind of where you start learning it. And I don't think, sometimes it would get down, you feel, oh, I didn't get first place. I should have gotten first place. But at the end of the day, you're competing with yourself, especially in swim. That's what I always focused on. But even in team sports, you can't get down on yourself, and you should always be happy for whoever, won, or even, if you guys win, you should always be, healthy with the person you went against.
That's right. Did you ever encounter a situation where that didn't happen? And how did you handle it?
Trying to think here. Sometimes I can remember off the top of my head when I would finish a race and swim, I would look over to the lane next to me and reach out my hand for, good race, and they would just completely ignore me. But honestly, with that, I just get a good kind of laugh at it. I'm like, okay, well, if you don't want to shake my hand, that's on you, not on me. I did everything I could for it. So.
Right. Now, as I understand, you almost took two sports that you loved and combined them in high school. Why don't you tell our audience what that sport was?
Okay, so like I've been talking about swim, I do love swim a lot, and I also, throughout middle school, started getting this really big love for volleyball. And I tried out for the volleyball team my freshman year of high school, but unfortunately I did not make the team because I didn't play club volleyball. So that next year I was like, okay, I'm gonna play club volleyball so I can make it my sophomore year. Played club volleyball and it just wasn't for me. And I also happened to get injured the week before tryouts, so that kind of went out the window. But then all of my friends who were on the swim team were like, you like swim freshman year. They said, you like swim, you should try for water polo. And I'm like, water polo? I've heard of it, but like, it never really entered my mind. And so I decided to try out for the team. I got on the team and I met some of my favorite people, and I definitely think that it was an escape from the classroom, and I honestly probably ended up loving that sport more than any other sport I'd ever done. So
it was a combination
of swim and volleyball in a way. I mean, obviously it's in the water, so it's more like swim, but you've got to stay up, got to tread the water, and you've got the ball aspect. It's more of the team player kind of aspect as well, whereas swim is more individual. So I think it really combined all of my loves into one sport. So yeah.
That's great. Now, you have a very heavy scholastic schedule. How did you balance sports with your studies?
Right. So as I mentioned earlier, where I'd be having like bad days and practices would make me feel better. Same thing goes for like if I had a really hard test the next day that I had to study for or things like that, I would go to practice, and being around all of those girls, whether it was for swim or water polo, they'd help me like take a deep breath and realize, okay, you're gonna go home, you're gonna study, everything's gonna be okay. And like I said earlier, it kept me at peace. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you also have to realize that, if you have a lot on your plate and you just think that you can't do it all, that missing a practice is not the end of the world. Sometimes you've got to look at what should come first. And in my mind, I think, it's student athlete for a reason. The student comes before the athlete. So you have to make sure you stay on your grades. So
that's good. Now, what is your grade point average graduating?
So I take quite a few honors and AP classes. So my cumulative GPA is around a 4.3. And yeah, that's what I'm graduating with.
That's wonderful. So would you say that sports has actually helped you in your academic goals and and helped you emotionally?
I definitely think it has. I don't think that I would have done nearly as well if I hadn't done sports. It keeps you active, it keeps your mind constantly going, and I think just sitting, at home all day, I just don't think I would have the motivation. That's a big thing, motivation, and I think sports help a lot with that.
That's true. So it's always important to remain active, and as Ella shows us here, physical activity can help your success. Thank you.